indeed, followed by the unedifying view of her dogs being forced to wear party hats and a prince of the realm's gross bare feet.
A birthday celebration was supposed to scream victory, but instead, it may have exposed the exact questions this carefully polished performance was meant to bury. Meghan Markle tried to make 45 look like the ultimate proof that everything had worked. The marriage survived, the business was thriving, the Montecito fantasy was intact, and the prince was still close enough to capture the supposedly carefree moment. But almost immediately, tiny details started looking less like harmless birthday fun and more like clues. The plastic tiara, the loudly symbolic Mrs. shirt, the dogs wearing birthday hats. And then came Harry with 2 words that practically swallowed the entire celebration, oh dear. Suddenly, the cheerful kitchen scene had a completely different energy. Why did something supposedly private require this much visible proof? Why did a birthday dance seem determined to establish marriage, happiness, relevance, and success all at once? And why did Harry's background reaction somehow become more memorable than the performance happening directly in front of the camera? That was when the birthday stopped looking simple and started looking suspiciously revealing, because underneath all the dancing was a much bigger question about the marriage, the brand, and the American dream Meghan has spent 6 years presenting to the world. The footage appeared playful and spontaneous, Meghan dancing around the kitchen, wearing a paper tiara and a shirt proudly emphasizing her status as a wife, while the dogs joined the spectacle in birthday hats. Cute? Maybe, but nothing exists in isolation when every detail becomes public content. The outfit communicated something. The setting communicated something. Even the person holding the camera communicated something. And then that carefully constructed birthday bubble collided with the one reaction nobody could stop replaying. Meghan posted the footage. Meghan allowed the words to remain. And that decision changed everything, because the woman dancing looked determined to project carefree happiness, while the man behind the camera sounded like someone watching a familiar routine unfold yet again. Was that what Meghan intended audiences to hear? Or did Harry accidentally provide the most brutally fascinating moment of the entire clip? Instead of people focusing purely on birthday joy, attention shifted toward Harry's voice, Harry's presence, and what those 2 little words might or might not have meant. And suddenly, those rumors surrounding Harry's close friendship were no longer floating somewhere outside the birthday story. The timing dragged relationship speculation straight into the kitchen. We're fine. That was essentially the message critics believed the clip was screaming, because after months of separate appearances, separate travel, and reports about Harry wanting more time in Britain, Meghan suddenly appeared dancing in an unmistakably marital shirt, while Harry's voice conveniently confirmed physical proximity. Coincidence? Possibly, but subtle? Absolutely not. If the relationship was never supposed to be part of the birthday message, why make marital identity visually impossible to miss? Every movement seemed capable of being interpreted as another signal saying the same thing: look, the marriage is here, the prince is here, everything is fine. Yet the harder that message appeared to be pushed, the more people questioned why it needed pushing at all. She was reminding everyone that she remained Mrs. Prince Harry. The shirt did not disappear quietly into the background, it practically behaved like a wearable headline. And that matters, because marriage rumors are not merely personal gossip for Meghan. They threaten something much larger: the structure supporting the public identity. The flowers, fruit spreads, cooking content, podcast interviews, designer clothing, and carefully selected photographs all exist beneath a royal shadow. The title remains. The crest remains. The fascination remains connected to the man she married. Remove that connection and an uncomfortable question appears: does the machinery generate the same level of attention? And this is where the birthday story becomes even messier. Meghan can present herself as founder, producer, entrepreneur, activist, and lifestyle expert, but remove Harry from the picture and suddenly the value of every kitchen dance, every photograph, and every product becomes open to harsher scrutiny. Then came the supposedly quiet birthday. Quiet? The public received a kitchen video, tiara, dogs, pool photograph, balloons, childhood image, company post, and product connection. That is not somebody accidentally being discovered celebrating. That looks like a rollout. Meghan did not merely celebrate a birthday, she produced a public moment, selected the imagery, shaped the atmosphere, and transformed a personal milestone into content. And that is where the contradiction starts exploding. Why promise simplicity and privacy, only to release enough carefully selected material to keep everyone watching? Because this birthday nightmare was only beginning. And then came the detail that made the whole birthday production feel even more awkward. The public congratulations were astonishingly thin. Nothing from the royal family, nothing from the supposedly glittering parade of A-list friends. And one visible message from Kelly J. Zajfen calling the birthday girl a great dream girl. Suddenly, the privacy argument became difficult to understand. Was this genuinely a private celebration? Or was privacy simply being used as elegant packaging while carefully controlled birthday material continued appearing online? The strangest twist came when the lifestyle brand congratulated its own founder. Meghan was effectively using a platform connected to Meghan to celebrate Meghan while simultaneously directing attention toward Meghan's products. Birthday affection had collided with marketing, and the childhood photograph itself seemed attached to the business machine. Where were the Kardashians, the Williams, the Suits co-stars, and that enormous Hollywood friendship circle audiences had heard so much about? Even Martha Stewart had reportedly entered the conversation surrounding Meghan Markle's attempt to establish herself as a homemaking personality. The silence suddenly seemed louder than the party. Then another absence became impossible to ignore. Where was Mom? The wedding era image had presented an extraordinarily close relationship, yet this very public birthday display produced questions instead of the expected avalanche of emotional tributes. Of course, private messages could have arrived behind closed doors, but once the celebration itself was deliberately placed before the public, every visible absence became something viewers could examine, and the pattern critics saw was brutal. Meghan celebrating Meghan, birthday messages apparently revolving around Meghan, almost like that old story about buying a tank watch and having it inscribed for a future daughter. At 45, however, this was supposed to represent something bigger than another birthday. Meghan appeared to be presenting a progress report, a woman who escaped the palace, conquered America, protected her family, built an empire, and created freedom. Yet 6 years after that California promise, the visual evidence of victory was a paper crown, dogs and hats, a novelty shirt, and a husband heard rather than properly seen. Even Meghan Markle's tiara became a punchline, and that opened the door to the bigger reinvention mystery. Meghan had been the serious royal, then the institutional critic, then the humanitarian, streaming producer, podcast host, campaigner, founder, lifestyle expert, and homemaking personality. Nearly every chapter arrived with another glossy announcement, another expensive image, and another promise that this time the identity would stick. But how many reinventions can one public figure launch before people begin asking where the destination actually is? The podcast era ended. Production announcements often became louder than the finished projects. Lifestyle content generated discussion, but much of that discussion centered on promotional awkwardness rather than undeniable commercial triumph. Meghan Markle remained famous, certainly, but fame and popularity are not identical. Attention is not affection, curiosity is not loyalty, and headlines do not automatically equal trust. That is why the birthday footage became such dangerous symbolism. Meghan wanted viewers to see carefree happiness, critics saw effort. Meghan wanted the marriage visible, viewers replayed Harry sounding exhausted. Meghan wanted private joy, people saw another publicity campaign. The tiara, balloons, slogan shirt, dogs, swimming pool image, and corporate congratulations were supposed to create celebration, yet together they created questions. And at 45, those questions become harder to outrun because another reinvention cannot automatically erase the previous one. Even comparisons involving Charles, Camilla, and Diana dragged the conversation straight back toward royalty. The birthday tiara pointed toward the monarchy, the Mrs. Shirt pointed toward Harry, and the Duchess identity pointed toward the palace. The supposed independent life still seemed trapped inside the gravitational pull of the institution left behind. And then came the detail that cut through everything. Harry was not standing beside the birthday performance. Harry was heard from somewhere behind it. 2 words, "oh dear," became the soundbite people remembered. That proves absolutely nothing about divorce, separation, or what happens privately inside the marriage, but it exposed something Meghan could no longer completely control: interpretation. Every photograph becomes evidence, every appearance becomes analysis, every joke becomes another question. And the harder Meghan tries to demonstrate certainty, the more suspicious audiences become about why certainty needs demonstrating at all. At 45, the next chapter cannot survive on balloons, slogans, and another promise of reinvention. It needs results. Because if those results never arrive, the machine faces the one thing it seemingly cannot tolerate: silence. And in that silence, people may finally stop watching the performance and start examining what remains.